Since around 1975, a sound has echoed through the airwaves. A sound without a face, without explanation. A sound that simply refuses to stop. It is a monotonous buzz, repeated endlessly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for decades, never a second of relief. This sound is known to radio enthusiasts, hobbyists, and curious listeners worldwide as the buzzer, the radio that never falls silent. It can be found at 4,625 kilohertz, a shortwave frequency where the faint background static becomes profoundly unsettling. Most of the time, there is nothing but that relentless buzz, like a metronome keeping the time of fear. But then, something changes. Every so often, rarely, unpredictably, the sound goes silent, and in its place emerges a human voice. A voice speaking Russian, slowly, reciting sequences of names, numbers, and words with no apparent meaning. These are not ordinary conversations. They are not messages for us. They are commands. The station is called UVB-76, an obscure call sign, likely assigned deep in the Cold War. And it has persisted through history, through empires fallen, wars waged, and decades of change. Over the years, interruptions have included Russian names: Nikolai, Zhenya, Tatiana, Ivan, Olga, Elena, Leonid, words appearing with no real context, just numbers and coded sounds. Some of the earliest recorded voice messages date back to the late 1990s, when hobbyists captured sequences of names and numbers for the first time, messages that were as cryptic then as they are now. And over time, other strange transmissions appeared. In 2006, clusters of names and numeric sequences. In 2011, cases of unusual sounds or brief anomalies overlapping the signal. In April 2025, 4 cryptic messages were transmitted in succession: Neptune, Timos, Foxcloak, Nudabu, words with no explanation. In September 2025, another burst of code words and numbers, meticulously recorded by enthusiasts. On June 1st, 2025, 8 similar messages were recorded in a single day, each containing codes and numerical sequences, as if secret instructions were being cast into the void. On October 6th, 2025, another mosaic of codes was transmitted: NZHTI 59400, Nutcracker 2456, 1459. Words and numbers fueling speculation and dread. And then, moments when the world held its breath. In the days and weeks before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, on February 24, 2022, UVB-76 showed a rise in vocal transmissions and unusual codes. Radio enthusiasts around the world recorded sequences of numbers and Russian words, more frequent than usual, as if the station were sending encrypted instructions into the ether, preparing for something vast, dark, inevitable. We do not know what these messages mean. There is no official confirmation, but the tension, the unease in the air, was palpable. The buzzer never stopped, and when the voice emerged, it seemed to warn a world that was still asleep. There is never an official explanation, no statement, just this voice, and that unending buzz. Some experts believe it is part of a Russian military command system, perhaps a channel to communicate with remote units, submarines, or hidden bunkers. Others speak of a link to ancient nuclear deterrent systems, like the legendary Dead Hand, a mechanism that responds automatically if all goes silent. It is not just that UVB-76 speaks occasionally, but that it has lingered in the air for decades, an invisible witness to humanity, a constant echo in the background of our world. Over the years, the UVB-76 frequency has occasionally been subject to brief anomalies. Some listeners have reported hearing music, voices, or strange sounds overlapping the monotonous buzz. These rare interruptions only add to the mystery, reminding us that even this relentless, decades-old transmission can be disturbed, but never explained. The buzz returns, uninterrupted, carrying on as if nothing happened. For over 4 decades, listeners across the globe, radio operators, technicians, the curious in the dead of night, have tuned into this frequency, drawn by one simple question: what, or who, is really speaking? And why, every time the voice emerges from the void, does the world hold its breath? UVB-76 is not simply a radio station. It is a shadow moving through the waves, a whisper crossing time and silence, carrying fear and unanswered questions. Every buzz, every interruption, every number pronounced is a message directed at someone, or perhaps at no one. And as that frequency continues to vibrate through the ether, new codes, names, and numbers will emerge from the darkness, ready to confuse, unsettle, and remind us how little we truly know. And that frequency will remain forever, a secret that no one will ever decipher. If you want to explore more dark mysteries, lost signals, and stories that defy explanation, subscribe to Dark Devils, hit the bell, and step deeper into the unknown with us.